detectives that are working and the neighbors over there, so that we ask that you come here to headquarters to not disturb their work that they're doing and also the neighborhood, and I appreciate you guys coming here. What I'd like to do is just give you some basic facts as I know them in this particular case. Just left the scene a few minutes ago myself. I've listened to the 911 call, and I'll be happy to take any questions that you have. Obviously, bearing in mind this investigation is ongoing, as I said, that we literally have detectives still on scene investigating, interviewing witnesses, and doing neighborhood canvassing. All victims in this case have opted into Marcy's Law, so we've got the confidentiality issue that we've got to deal with as we work through this case. At 9:06 a.m., our 911 center received a call reporting a man was threatening a woman with a gun. She indicated the two were in an argument yesterday, and she awoke today to find the man pointing the gun at her. Deputies responded to the scene within approximately 5 minutes. They attempted to make contact with the suspect, ask him to come out of the house. He would initially not comply with the deputies' commands. Deputies eventually made contact via telephone and convinced the suspect to come to a window where they could see him. He stood in the window, had his hands in the air where the deputies could see them. The suspect then invited deputies into the house. The victim was barricaded at this time in the back bedroom. She had called 911 and indicated, as I said, that she woke up and found a firearm pointed at her, and it sounds like he pointed at her possibly multiple times. 4 deputies entered the house at that time, confronted the suspect. As I said, he had his hands up from their conversation at the window. Deputies were on the outside. He was on the inside when they were having that conversation. Deputies were continuing to give verbal commands, make sure he kept his hands in the air, try to de-escalate the situation, at which time the suspect reached behind his back in what appeared to be his waistband, pulled out a semi-automatic firearm, had it at the low ready position, and chambered around by racking the slide on the firearm. As the firearm came into the up position towards the deputies who were near the doorway of the living room, 2 of the deputies fired their weapons, discharged at the suspect. The suspect is deceased. Next of kin has been notified of the suspect. The suspect is 47-year-old Brian Underwood. He has 1 prior arrest for domestic battery in 2014 out of Citrus County. Deputies have responded to this location in the past for other reported family disturbances. However, none of those situations have led to an arrest. Also present during the incident was Underwood's mother. She exited the home during the disturbance and left the front door ajar so that deputies could go inside. The 4 involved deputies are considered victims, as I mentioned, of aggravated assault under Marcy's Law, and their identity is being withheld at this time. The victim in this case, and she is a victim of aggravated domestic assault with a firearm. She's also not being, her name's not being released under Marcy's Law. This is the second domestic-related incident that our deputies have been involved in with an officer-involved shooting in the last 10 days. We had a third incident where a subject came out down in Venice with a knife, and the deputy had to physically engage that individual. So this is still a very dangerous profession, and we handle these calls as professionally as we can. It's unfortunate that this and also the call from a few days ago ended with the suspect losing their life, but that's a choice that they made, and the deputies responded what appears to be appropriately. So with that, I'll take any questions that you may have about the situation.
So last week, you guys ended up releasing the footage, or I guess not the footage, but the photo of the machete that was used. Can we expect anything like that with this investigation as well?
Yeah, I would assume as the investigation progresses, we'll try to get some of that information out. They're literally behind the crime scene tape right now, going door to door, talking to the witnesses. A few of the detectives have made their way back to headquarters, but the majority of them are still on scene. So, yes.
Do we know if there's anyone else in the house at the time, or was it just
So what we know is obviously the 911 caller was in the house in the rear bedroom calling 911. At one point, the deceased, the suspect's mother, was in the house and she exited. So at this time, we believe only those 3 were involved in the situation.
Was the house owned by the gentleman who is now deceased, or is it?
I believe the house is owned by the deceased's mother, who was present there. House is in her name.
Was it, if that's the case, was this not where the couple resided? Were they visiting or something? Or?
Yeah, I believe they're residing there. They both live there, and it's owned by the deceased mother. So the victim that was in the back bedroom of the house, a female victim, called 911 about 9:06 and indicated that she had woke up and a firearm was pointed in her face when she woke up. And listening to the 911 call, which I did just a few minutes ago before I came down here to talk to you, it sounds like he was pointing the firearm at her, not only when she woke up out of bed, but at some other point during the incident inside the house.
What's the relationship between suspect and victim?
We believe they're boyfriend and girlfriend, not married. Anything else? Okay, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.